Learn how to create, sustain, and scale up your print-on-demand business with the latest tips, guides, and strategies to help you start selling and making money today. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show. And here's your host, Adam Schneider.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 29. This is going to be a very, very different episode. I am not going to be talking about print on demand. I know, it's throw me in jail. I've broken my own rule. I told you that this is all about print on demand, but this episode is going to be, I'm calling it 10 work from home ideas that are not print on demand. And I should probably also add they are not multi-level marketing. So these are legitimate work from home things that you can do. And the reason I'm doing this is because I know that there are many, many people out there that are looking for a side hustle. Now, originally when I was planning out doing a podcast, I was going to do something that would teach people how to do side hustles. And I myself had a whole bunch of side hustles right up until like just 12 months ago, maybe even less than that. But I did it because I needed to maintain the cash flow while I scaled up my print-on-demand business. Now that my print-on-demand business is doing really well, and all of the success that I'm enjoying now is a result of cumulative, I call it a snowball effect, right? So when you find a winning idea and you start selling that winning idea, you don't have to keep working to make the money. That just pays for itself over and over again. But to get there, you sometimes need to work hard, or at least work a little bit harder than you normally would, for a couple of months to find those ideas. And in the meantime, a lot of people need something to fill in the gaps. A lot of people need, just a little bit of cash right now to, make a few extra bills or save up a little bit of money, and maybe you're looking to have a really good Christmas and you want to have some cash on hand. So this is 10 work from home ideas that are not print on demand, but they are basically an hourly kind of thing, but you can do them from home. I'll probably make this into a much longer blog post, and I'm going to be putting links in, so anybody who wants to know what are some links to find more information, you will be able to find those links in the show notes. So, number one, this is actually something that I have done, and I thought I'd start with this because I found it to be pretty practical and made a decent amount of money off of it, and I don't have any time to do it anymore, which is why I'm not doing it. But number one is freelancing with writing, proofreading, translation, transcription, anything to do with written words or listening to audio and transcribing it into written format. There is tons and tons of work for this, and you can work on sites like Fiverr. I like Fiverr the best, and I'll tell you why. And you can also work on Upwork, and there are other sites that are specifically for this, but the reason I like Fiverr is that you can start with short little $5 gigs and you build up the credibility and you sort of level up. But once you level up, you end up getting a lot of work, and you can charge more because you have the credibility gained from having done it for a while. There's no guaranteed amount of money from this. But what I found to be the easiest thing to do on Fiverr is that you start with really short things. So you tell people, I will write you a 300-word article for $10. I will write you a 30-second video script for $5, $10. And there are tons and tons of people out there looking for this kind of thing. And I was doing proofreading because I'm not a fan of writing. I like writing stories, but they have to be my stories. I don't like writing other people's stuff. But if you are somebody that likes to write and you think you can do this, there is tons and tons of work. There's no end of work to be done with writing, proofreading, translation, and transcription. And I think my favorite spot would be Fiverr. It's a very well-known site. It's got lots of traffic, and there are lots of different ways to make money on that. With Fiverr, you do have to kind of decide what you're going to offer. So you have to guess what the market is looking for. And then you have to create 3 different levels of service to offer to people. But you can also offer custom orders, and that's usually where I found most of my orders coming from, like custom orders. Like people would say, oh, I have a 300-page book. Well, how much would you charge for that? And I would look at the kind of book they were looking to do. Some people would, sometimes a book it needs a lot of work, and sometimes it doesn't need a lot of work. So you have to kind of fiddle with this to get the right amount of sort of profit out of it. You don't want to give away your work for free, but you don't want to charge too much in the beginning. So that's number 1. Number 2, Amazon Customer Service Rep. Yeah, Amazon isn't just for people selling coffee mugs and t-shirts. Amazon actually has a number of customer service reps that work from home. You do need to have a very high quality internet connection. I'm not exactly sure how you get hired doing this. I'd imagine if you do a Google search for Amazon Customer Service Rep plus work from home, you probably will come up with a link for that. I'll see if I can't find a link in the meantime and put it in the show notes. But you just get paid a regular hourly wage, and you take calls from probably customers who they ordered something and they got the wrong thing, or they want to know where their package is or whatever. So you basically will spend, a certain number of hours of your day dealing with the kind of people that I would just rather not deal with myself, but you do get paid a regular hourly wage, and you're working from home. So it's a perfectly legitimate way to make money, and it would be hilariously ironic to sell on Amazon and then also be a customer service rep for Amazon, working the other end of it. So if you have done this before, please send me a message and let me know what it's like. I would love to hear what kind of things customers are calling about. Nothing specific. I just would love to hear some general thoughts about it. So, number 3, teaching English online. There are 2 sites that I know. One is a really well-known site, and the other one I've never heard of before, but it's got a few fans. And you're teaching English basically to Chinese kids with these 2 sites. But they aren't the only sites out there. There has to be more of them. So one of them is called VIPKid. And I looked into this a while ago, and it is a very legitimate way to teach online. You have to be available at kind of weird hours because you're teaching people who live overseas. So I think most of the time you're going to be doing it kind of early in the morning. I don't know how early in the morning. I didn't want to ask, but I mean, China has a lot of time zones. So there's a good chance that if you can't get up at 3 in the morning, they'll probably have something at 5, 6, or 7. So you're running through lessons with kids online, and they pay you for it. And the parents kind of, if they like you, I'm not exactly sure how it works, but if they like you, they'll sign up with you again. And there's no guaranteed amount of work, but a lot of the people who are doing this are finding it to be a really legitimate way to earn money teaching online. The other one is called Magic Ears, and it's the same kind of thing with a little bit of a different setup. I think VIPKid, you're teaching 1-on-1, and Magic Ears, you're teaching 1-on-4, is what I was told. So that is a good way to earn money if you don't mind basically getting up really early in the morning, or perhaps staying up late at night to do that. So number 4, Shopify Customer Guru. Now, I came across this when I was I was looking to get out of the job I was working. I was just really, really unhappy, and I came across this. It was a full-time job. There are other Shopify remote jobs. This one was sort of a entry-level position, and it was available in Canada, and they were looking for province-specific people, but I can only imagine that they would have this in the US. Shopify is a huge online e-commerce store. Lots of people have Shopify stores. I had like 2 or 3 back a couple of years ago. I don't do it anymore because you got to run Facebook ads, and I just don't have time to manage that. So Shopify, being this huge supplier of e-commerce store, they need people to sort of manage the seller's experience, and this is what you'd be doing. So you have a regular shift. I believe it's a full-time thing. You log in. You're available for calls. They give you lots of training. It's not a huge amount of money you're making. In Canada, it was like $40,000 a year. If you're in the U.S. and you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money in Canada. Our dollar kind of sucks compared to yours. So that'd be more like $27,000 a year in the U.S. So in Canada, it was decent, not great, not huge amount of money, but it is a work from home thing, and it's a legitimate huge company with benefits. You get like money towards university or something like that. So it's a good one if you don't have any other skills and you're looking to get into e-commerce but you're not quite ready yet. One of the things that they want you to do is open up a Shopify store to prove that you know how to do it. And then you will be leading other people through that experience somehow. I'm not exactly 100% sure what you'd be doing, but look into it. Shopify Customer Guru. Shopify does have other remote jobs. If you know how to code, you know how to do full stack coding. I don't know what that means, but it means something. So if you know all of these coding languages and stuff like that, there are loads of remote jobs for guys like you, girls like you. So number 5, medical coding and medical transcription. I have no idea what this means. It has something to do with hospitals. You do need some training and certification to get this. Obviously, it's not something the average person would know how to do. But from what I understand, there are tons of remote jobs available for people who can do medical coding. Based on, I guess, for insurance. Here in Canada, medical transcriptionist is a pretty popular remote job. I have no idea what it is. Again, I'm just being honest with you guys. Some of these things seem like Greek to me, but they are legitimate things. And if you take the time, do a little search, I'll try to put a link in the description for this one to maybe what it means and what you do, a job description perhaps. It is probably specific for a location. You might have to live in the area that this is being done in order to work for a company, but it is work from home stuff. So number 6 is being a virtual assistant. This is a huge and very broad based kind of thing, and it can cover anything from, well, I had a virtual assistant who would upload images for me to Gearbubble and basically launch the designs, and it saved me a bunch of time. I wasn't paying a lot because it wasn't a very difficult thing to do, but virtual assistants will do things like responding to reviews. They will look at a website and they will make sure that all of the text is properly formatted. There's just a million different things that a virtual assistant can do, and there are, again, a million different sites that you can be hired to do it, or you can just freelance and say on Upwork, you'd be like, I am a virtual assistant. These are the things that I can do. I can manage your Amazon seller account. I can manage your Amazon pay-per-click account. I can use, well, it's a little bit difficult to have a virtual assistant do an Etsy store, but virtual assistants can use a program called Get Vela. and make some edits to an Etsy store without logging in directly. So virtual assistant is probably one of the biggest online things that you can do. There is no guarantee of like a full-time income. It doesn't pay a ton, but it can pay differently depending on what kind of skills you have. You can have a virtual assistant who is very skilled at writing copy for an online e-commerce store, and you'd probably want to pay them quite a bit of money. In the other hand, you can have someone who just like copies one file from one place to another, uploads images or something like that. Probably wouldn't make a lot of money doing that. All right, number 7, teaching online courses. There are a few places to do that. One of the places that comes to mind is Udemy, but there are also takelessons.com, and I guess it depends on what you're teaching and what you know. So a lot of this is, a lot of the teaching online people will create their own courses, and they'll teach basically remotely. So it's something like what I had been planning to do with this course that I'm building here, which is still in the building phase if anybody's curious. But probably with some of these, you are being connected with actual universities and possibly colleges, and you're teaching actual things that maybe you're already qualified in. So maybe you already know how to, you know a lot about history, and you can teach people, or you can offer, what is the word for this? Ongoing coaching. I know there's a word for this, and it's escaped me. But you can sit down with individual people and do coaching or help them out with their lessons or stuff like that. So online teaching, just in a general sense, not teaching English, but just teaching online courses. Takelessons.com is the one that popped up a few times, and probably good one to take a look at. So number 8 is remote information technology, or IT work. This is actually pretty big. You do need to have the skills to do this before you get hired, but you can make quite a bit of money. Most of these are legitimate jobs with legitimate companies. You're not freelancing necessarily. You can freelance, but a lot of people who do remote IT work are working for someone like, say, Shopify, or they're working remotely for another company, and they're just managing databases, managing lists, or I don't know really what IT people do, like working on coding. So I know that Gearbubble has a team of developers that work on keeping the site up, fending off dedicated denial of service attacks. Just recently, a program called Cloudflare had some kind of weird problem, and it brought down a significant part of the entire internet, including all of Shopify. So people who know how to fix these problems are in huge demand, and the demand for these kinds of things is only growing, and they are skilled things. So you can't just jump into this as you would if you were teaching English or something like that. Anybody who knows how to speak English can teach English, but you need actual skill to learn how to, fix the HTML of a website, or how to do some... I am definitely exceeding my knowledge here by even talking about this, but remote IT work, good jobs can be done from anywhere. You just need dedicated internet connection and some time. So, number 9, freelancing, but you're doing it with photos, image manipulation, or creating. So, graphic design or graphic manipulation. And this is, in fact, a huge freelancing opportunity. It might even be bigger than writing, or at least as big as writing, because there's a ton of people out there. And this is, again, another good one for e-commerce stuff. You can create designs that people will upload as t-shirts. You can create images that people will use as e-commerce images on a website. A lot of Amazon sellers will hire people to create the lead photo on their listings. And I'm not talking about print-on-demand listings. I'm just talking about any listing. Someone who is selling a private label product, they need a really good image as sort of their header image. It might be one of the most important parts of a listing is the image, the other part being the description and the title. So if you're good at image manipulation, you have access to Photoshop, you know how to use it, or you can take good photos of a product. There's lots of freelancing opportunities. And again, Fiverr is a good place to start with this. You don't have to stay there. There are lots of other places that you can sell your work. But there is lots and lots and lots of work to be had with photo/image manipulation or creation. All right, number 10. Do a regular office job at home. Lots and lots of people today are finding that the company they work for, where you traditionally will get in your car, you will start the engine, and you will drive through traffic to get to a central office tower. A lot of companies are allowing employees to work from home, either some of the time or all of the time. And I know my own dad, he was able to do this. And he would just log into his, I guess you would just have a remote access terminal and you just log in and do your work. So a lot of office jobs do not need your physical presence in the office. And I think that more and more and more as technology improves, the internet connections become more reliable in various places, this will become maybe almost the norm instead of a weird outlier. And most companies will hire people to work remotely instead of bringing them in. The benefits for the companies are tremendous. You get employees for the same cost for wages, but you don't have to pay for them to have a desk. You don't have to, build a building for them to exist in. I mean, there's just a lot of wasted space that comes with having a separate place that you work at as opposed to a place that you live. And I've often thought about how much energy and material is wasted building office buildings for people to just sit in there and type on computers when most of us have a computer at home that is perfectly capable of doing the same thing. And most of the work that we're doing is all cloud-based, so it's all online. And there's no reason for you not to be able to do it at home. Some companies love this, some of them are reluctant to accept this, but it's only becoming more and more acceptable, not less acceptable as time goes on here. So if you are doing a regular office job that is basically, unless you're, interacting with customers in the office space, which obviously you would need to be there for that. Customers are coming into your store and you have to interact with them. That's probably one of the only times that one of the jobs that you wouldn't be able to work remotely. But really, any job that is where you do a lot of emails, you can do virtual meetings. If you're doing any kind of design work, it doesn't matter if you need special software, all of that can be done from home. And a lot of companies will let you work remotely. And you just have to ask them. So there you go, guys. 10 work from home ideas that are not print on demand, helping you to make a little bit of money on the side, or maybe it's your full-time thing. Personally, for me, print on demand is a side hustle, and it probably will be a side hustle into the foreseeable future because I like working. I just have no desire to quit my job. Print on demand isn't, steady income, but there is a lot of potential for scalability in this, and it's income that just keeps repeating itself over and over again. I don't have to keep working on it to maintain that. That's why I love it, and that's why I teach it. So if you like this episode, visit the website, salesondemandshow.com. There is a Facebook page. Subscribe on iTunes, leave a review, send me a message. send a passenger pigeon to my house with a little note tied on its leg. I love hearing from you guys, and I feel like there's a lot of listeners out there that are just quietly listening, learning, and doing stuff, and I just haven't heard from you yet. So drop me a line, leave a comment, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.